Oh, no, a pleasure as always.
Well, I was going to ask for your reaction to the first comments made by Troy Bowker, but he's kept doubling down. So what's been your reaction to this entire saga?
I mean, it just seems bizarre, doesn't it, that there doesn't seem to be some sort of code of conduct or bringing your organisation into disrepute that can be triggered at some point, because surely just because you have money doesn't mean that you can buy your way out of consequences of those words that you'll be using.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think the Hurricanes as well, he's come out online and said that he's rich as whatever and can do everything he wants. It's remarkable that there hasn't been any distance put between the Hurricanes and this bloke already.
I mean, look, it seems like a massive oversight if there isn't something that's written into the contract that when you buy into a brand that you can bring it into disrepute, because otherwise, look, mate, you could buy your way into anything and end up speaking against its core values and ultimately tank the product. So that doesn't make any sense to me, just from a commercial aspect. That's the commercial one. The moral one is something completely different. I mean, this man, he might have bought shares in something, but this is something that proudly celebrates its Māori players and embraces that culture within their values. So it doesn't make any sense that you would, if you have these views, choose to be a part of something that's so contra to your own.
Yeah, and the code of conduct one is an interesting point as well, because you would think there'd be some sort of, I suppose, vetting process or something like that. One, a code of conduct, but also a vetting process around, perhaps what people are allowed to say, and don't make these sort of public comments. You'd think there'd be a line that you would toe as a public-facing person.
Well, absolutely, and this is the whole thing as well, isn't it? The difference between appointed, bought, and natural leadership. And I think that this is maybe showing that you can't buy leadership. You can maybe buy a place at the table, that doesn't mean that you carry the values of what that means. And look, I think he'll keep towing the line that this is political. No, it isn't. It's racist. This isn't politics. This is speaking down about a group of people and making all types of assumptions and assertions that are just factually incorrect. So it's just, this is not about politics. Politics is whether you agree with Plan A or Plan B, not whether you're discriminating against a whole group of people.
I know as a Wellington Rugby representative, and the Hurricanes claim to be a separate entity, obviously, but they do have connection with Wellington Rugby through various points. But that's got a sting as a Wellington Rugby representative, given they are so intrinsically linked to the Hurricanes, that is, to Wellington Rugby.
Yeah, look, when I played for Wellington, I had to sign a player code of conduct, and within that was, something there that I could be dropped if I, do not uphold the values of the jersey. Now, this is the same thing, isn't it? So it seems odd that this isn't consistent there. It does make me think maybe we need to have a crowdfunding to buy another seat on the board to maybe represent that view of the fans, because look, that's what I am as well. I've supported, this team since I've been growing up, and it seems so disgusting that someone can buy a place on this and then also buy immunity from their comments. It's just not good enough.
It seems,
there has to be something that can be pulled here.
It seems to almost go against what New Zealand rugby fans sort of believe, is that the game is for everyone, not for people who can buy their way onto a space to control these teams.
Absolutely. And like I say, just because you can, buy a place on doesn't mean that you can't lose it. Like, this isn't good enough just to say it's a commercial issue and that this isn't anything. Well, I mean, if there isn't, there needs to be quickly a policy put in place that if somebody comes out and brings the brand into dispute, then this is something that can be triggered, that they basically then have to look at the sale of their ownership part. This is not good enough. It's going to be damaging to the Hurricanes brand. It's damaging to the players. It's damaging to the sponsors that are associated with the product. I mean, it's not good for anyone to have this type of rhetoric playing out in public.
Yeah, I think TJ Perenara, his comments on social media today reflect that the players, and especially himself, aren't happy with the way this is playing out.
No, and what a weight for him to have to carry, to yet again falling on a Māori player to call out racism. This isn't good enough. That actually is part of the role as the chief executive. You get paid the big bucks to handle these situations. So you've got to put that up there. Let's also keep in mind here that, the Hurricanes, as well as all the other franchises, are looking right now at establishing their women's section. So we're going to have our competition at the beginning of next year. I know there'll be a number of Māori women that will be looking at playing for the Hurricanes, be looking at this and think, do I want this bloke making decisions for me about how that competition is going to be structured? I'd say no. It's a pretty simple one there.
Alice Soper, appreciate your time with us as always on News Talk ZB.
Thanks, mate.
Kia ora, Ben Hurley here from the ACC's Mad Monday podcast. If you are a rugby league fan, then make sure you check out the ACC's Mad Monday podcast, available now on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.